In this video, we will look at how to find maxima or minima of curves or functions using your TI-84. And before we get started, let me just tell you a little bit about the words maxima, minima. The singular form of the word is maximum, so we are looking for where the function has a maximum. That's the singular use of the word. The actual plural of that is maxima. So when you see maxima, minima of curves or functions, we are really talking about the plural of maximum and the plural of minimum. You might be familiar with the word stadium. So if you say we have one stadium, so for example in Pittsburgh there is more than one stadium. So if you want more than one, you can have two stadia. Stadia would be the plural of stadium. Now in English most people don't use that. Most people would just say two stadiums. But in mathematics we still use maxima as the plural of maximum and minima as the plural of minimum. Okay, so let's use our calculator to find a maximum or a minimum of a function or on a curve. So let's look at this function. Y equals 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. So we want to find the maximum or the minimum of this function if it has one. Now we will learn in class a few things. You'll notice that this is a quadratic function. So we know the graph looks like a parabola. You will also notice that the leading coefficient, the coefficient of x squared, is positive. So this parabola looks like a smiley face. It opens upward. So this function actually has a minimum. We will also learn in class the algebra techniques for finding this minimum exactly. And if you take calculus class, you will learn calculus techniques to find maxima and minima of many different kinds of functions. But just for example's sake, we will use this function to find an approximation of the maximum or the minimum, in this case, the minimum of this function. So let's go to our calculator and enter our function. Y equals 3 times x squared plus 10 times x minus 8. Enter. And let's graph our function. So you can sort of see the makings of a parabola there, but you'll notice we do not actually see the minimum. And keep in mind, if when graphing this on your calculator you do not see what's on the screen there, it probably means that you were in a different window for another problem. So remember, zoom, option 6, standard, takes you back to the window where x runs from minus 10 to 10 and y runs from minus 10 to 10. Now again, we can see here that we're just missing the minimum of this graph. So let's change our window. We have to decrease our y value. So how about we try a y minimum of negative 20. Let's see if that does it for us. And it does. So you can see the minimum there on the graph. So that is the point we are looking for. So how will we use our calculator? Well, like many of the other things we did with graphs, we are going to use calc, which is a raised key. And since it's blue, we need the second key first. So that's what we'll be using. So second calc. And you can see options 3 and 4, minimum, maximum. We will want option 3 in this example because we are looking for a minimum. If it would be a maximum, you just use option 4. So let's press number 3 for option 3. Now, much like when we found horizontal intercepts, it's going to ask us for bounds on where we think the minimum is. And remember, you can use the left and right arrow keys to scroll to the left and right of it, or you can just enter the number. So it wants a left bound to where we think the minimum is. So for this example, I'll use the arrow keys. I'm going to press to the left until I get to the left horizontally of where my minimum is. Okay, I'm to the left of where it is. Horizontally, remember. Press enter. Now it wants us to go to the right. Okay, I can do that. Now I'm to the right horizontally of where the minimum is. Enter. And I want you to guess, so I'll get as close as I can to the bottom there and press enter. And there is the minimum. So the minimum has an x value of negative 1.66665. So that might tip you off that this actually has a nice fractional answer. So let's write that down. And the y value, negative 16.333. So again, that tips you off that that has a nice fractional answer. Y is really negative 16 1/3, as you can probably tell. And the x value, if you were guessing, is probably negative 1 2/3. Now again, we will learn techniques in class to find the exact answer of the maximum or minimum value. So we will learn how to find the exact value in class. But there are many instances where an approximation will do. So this is how you will use your calculator to find that approximation.